All right, so you wanted the rundown on NVIDIA's future,
Mm-hmm.
specifically what this Motley Fool article from January 19th, 2025,
Okay.
called Jensen Huang, just delivered incredible news for NVIDIA stock investors, is all about.
Sounds good.
So let's dive in. You probably already know. NVIDIA,
Yeah.
founded back in 93, created the first GPUs, and now they're basically the king of the hill when it comes to AI chips.
Yeah, they're really dominant right now.
Especially for those giant data centers.
Absolutely crucial for those.
But get this. The article hints at a potential multi-trillion-dollar opportunity they're going after.
That's a big one. Yeah.
So,
It's not just hype either.
okay.
To understand why this is such a big deal. We need to look at where NVIDIA stands right now.
Okay.
Their chips are the backbone of AI development, powering the training and operation of those super complex AI models.
Right.
Data centers are just gobbling them up.
Yeah.
And Jensen Huang, NVIDIA's CEO, predicts $1 trillion will be spent on data center upgrades
Wow.
over the next 4 years alone.
That's a lot of money.
It is?
Yeah, the article mentions 88% of NVIDIA's revenue comes from data centers.
Right.
So that trillion-dollar prediction is definitely good news for them.
Yeah, huge.
But isn't the semiconductor industry kind of like a roller coaster?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What goes up?
Must come down, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the semiconductor industry is known for these boom and bust cycles.
Right.
That's why it's smart for NVIDIA to be thinking bigger than just data centers.
Okay.
They need to diversify, find those next big waves to ride.
Makes sense.
And that brings us to Huang's incredible news from CES 2025.
So what is it?
Whoa.
Is this where the multi-trillion-dollar opportunity comes in?
You guess it.
Okay.
NVIDIA is making a serious play in the autonomous vehicle market.
Interesting.
And we're not talking baby steps here.
Okay.
Huang thinks this could be the first multi-trillion-dollar market in robotics.
Hold up, even bigger than data centers?
Potentially.
Yeah. Isn't that a bit ambitious?
Well, Huang's not alone in his thinking.
Really?
Kathy Wood's ARK, a pretty well-known investment firm,
Okay, I've heard of them.
predicts that autonomous vehicle technology could generate $14 trillion in value by 2027.
So the numbers are huge.
The numbers are massive.
Okay. Color me intrigued.
Yeah.
But how does NVIDIA plan to win this so-called AV race? Are they just making chips for self-driving cars?
They're actually taking a more holistic approach.
Okay.
Think of it as providing not just the ingredients, but the entire kitchen for whipping up self-driving success.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They've created the NVIDIA Drive platform, which has both the hardware and the software needed.
Interesting.
Their latest chip, Thor, is specifically designed for autonomous vehicles. But that's just the tip of the iceberg.
So they're going beyond just chips.
Right.
What else are they offering?
They're also giving car companies the infrastructure to maintain and improve their AV models over time.
Oh, wow.
NVIDIA has these DGX data centers, which act like gyms for AI, providing the computing power for continuous training and improvement.
So like AI boot camp.
Exactly. Plus, they have this thing called Cosmos.
Cosmos.
Yeah.
Like the universe.
It is a bit like that, actually.
What does that have to do with self-driving cars?
It's actually pretty mind-blowing.
Okay.
Cosmos is what's called a multimodal foundation model. Think of it as a super simulator.
Okay.
But instead of using real-world data from cars on the road,
Uh-huh.
it creates synthetic data.
So like a virtual reality for self-driving cars?
Yeah, you could say that.
Is that even accurate?
Yeah, it's basically a massive virtual driving school
That's so cool.
where they can run millions of simulations using this computer-generated data
Wow.
that mimics real-world scenarios.
Okay.
This way, the AI can learn from tons of experience
Right.
without needing to put physical cars on the road.
Interesting.
Pretty clever, right?
That's wild.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, but how is NVIDIA actually making money from all of this right now?
Their automotive revenue is already climbing.
Okay.
They're expected to hit $1.5 billion by the end of this fiscal year.
That's a decent chunk of change.
It is.
But didn't the article mention Huang predicting a massive jump next year?
He did.
Oh, yeah.
He believes that number could soar to $5 billion in fiscal 2026.
Wow.
Now, that's a huge leap,
Yeah.
and it shows how seriously they're taking this autonomous vehicle opportunity.
Okay.
Hmm.
$5 billion is a lot of cash.
Sure is.
But let's be real, it's still just a sliver of their overall revenue pie, right?
Right.
The data center business is still their bread and butter. Yeah.
For now, absolutely.
Okay.
The article predicts NVIDIA could reach $196 billion in revenue by fiscal 2026.
Wow.
And data centers will still be the biggest contributor, But things are changing fast.
Okay.
Their new Blackwell GB200 GPUs are already shipping out.
Right, I read about that.
And even faster chips are on the horizon.
It seems like they're always one step ahead.
Always innovating.
The article mentions Blackwell could be blowing previous gen chips out of the water by April this year.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast things move in this industry.
It seems like they're constantly pushing the limits of what's possible.
That's NVIDIA for you.
And all this progress in chip performance means we're going to see some truly amazing AI applications popping up soon.
Oh, absolutely.
Way smarter chatbots, virtual assistants that actually get you.
I can't wait.
And even breakthroughs in healthcare and research.
For sure.
It's a pretty exciting time to be watching this all unfold.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where things go from here.
All right, so far we've covered NVIDIA's dominance in data centers, their big push into the potentially massive world of autonomous vehicles, and the fact that they're constantly innovating.
Always pushing the envelope.
But let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Their stock has skyrocketed over 830% since 2023.
It's been a wild ride.
Is it even worth considering buying in at this point?
That's a fair question. The stock isn't cheap, sitting at a PE ratio of 53.6.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
That's actually below their 10-year average PE ratio.
So what you're saying is there's still room for growth.
Potentially, yes.
Interesting.
Their forward PE ratio based on projected earnings is only 30.6.
Okay.
That suggests there could still be some upside. However, it's important to remember that competition is heating up.
Right.
Companies like AMD are developing their own chips.
Okay.
And that could put a dent in NVIDIA's dominance down the line.
Right. Always got to keep an eye on the competition.
For sure.
But before we get too deep into that, let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And dig more into those potential risks and rewards of investing in NVIDIA.
Sound good.
Okay, so we've established that NVIDIA's stock is hot, but also facing some potential headwinds.
Right. There's always a flip side.
What are some of the big risks investors should be thinking about when it comes to NVIDIA?
Well, like you just mentioned, competition is a major one. AMD is a serious contender in the chip market.
Right.
And they're not just trying to catch up. They're gunning for the lead.
I see.
That could put pressure on NVIDIA's profit margins and market share.
Yeah.
Especially in the data center business.
Right. The article mentioned AMD is set to release a new chip that could rival NVIDIA's top-of-the-line offerings.
Yeah, that's one to watch for sure.
But doesn't NVIDIA have a bit of a moat around its business?
They do.
Okay.
But it's not impenetrable.
Right.
NVIDIA's built a strong reputation for performance and innovation. And they've got a loyal customer base. But the tech world moves fast.
For sure.
If AMD can deliver comparable performance at a lower price,
right,
that could tempt some of NVIDIA's customers to switch sides.
Okay, so competition is a real threat.
It's definitely a factor.
What else should investors be wary of?
Well, the semiconductor industry as a whole is facing some challenges.
Like what?
Supply chain disruptions, geopolitical tensions, and the rising cost of raw materials could all impact NVIDIA's bottom line.
Yeah.
It's not just about designing and selling chips anymore.
Yeah.
It's about navigating a complex global landscape.
That makes sense. Yeah. And speaking of complex landscapes, let's talk more about those autonomous vehicles.
Okay.
You mentioned that NVIDIA's automotive revenue, while growing fast, is still a relatively small part of their business.
It is for now.
Do you see that changing in the near future?
It really depends on how quickly the autonomous vehicle market takes off.
Okay.
Right now, there's a lot of hype, but the reality is we're still in the early stages.
I see.
There are technical hurdles to overcome, safety regulations to navigate, and even public perception to consider.
Yeah.
Not everyone is comfortable with the idea of a car driving itself.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a sticking point. I mean, I'm not sure I'm ready to hand over the wheel just yet.
I hear you.
But the article did highlight a bunch of big names already partnering with NVIDIA on the AV front.
Oh, yeah. They're racking up some impressive partnerships.
Mercedes-Benz, Hyundai, even Toyota.
Exactly. Some major players.
That's right.
NVIDIA's not going it alone in this race.
Okay.
They're working with some of the biggest players in the automotive industry. And that's a smart move.
Yeah.
By collaborating with established car manufacturers, NVIDIA gains access to their expertise resources and distribution networks.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about the partnerships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Building a successful autonomous vehicle ecosystem requires collaboration.
Right.
It's not something any one company can do on its own.
Okay. So partnerships are key.
They're essential.
But even with all the right partners on board,
Mm-hmm.
there's still the issue of public acceptance.
Right.
How do you see that playing out?
That's a tough one.
Will people eventually warm up to the idea of self-driving cars?
I think it's inevitable, but it will take time. We're already seeing a gradual shift in attitudes.
Yeah.
As driver assistance features become more common,
Right.
people are getting used to cars that can park themselves, stay in their lane,
Uh-huh.
and even brake automatically in emergencies.
Right.
These features are paving the way for greater levels of autonomy down the road.
That's a good point. We're kind of easing into the whole self-driving thing without even realizing it.
Exactly. It's a gradual process.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and talk about the bigger picture.
Right.
You know, beyond just the financial implications of investing in Nvidia, why should the average person, someone who might not be a tech enthusiast or a stock market guru,
Right.
care about what Nvidia is doing?
Because NVIDIA's technology is shaping the future.
Okay.
And that future impacts all of us.
How so?
Their chips are powering the AI revolution,
Okay.
which is touching every aspect of our lives,
Wow.
from the way we work to the way we shop to the way we interact with the world around us.
That's a pretty powerful statement.
It is.
Can you give us some concrete examples of how Nvidia's tech is impacting everyday life?
Sure.
Okay.
Take healthcare, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
NVIDIA's chips are being used to train AI models that can detect cancer cells in medical images.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Diagnose diseases earlier and more accurately.
That's incredible.
And even personalized treatment plans.
That's amazing.
This is leading to better outcomes for patients and a more efficient healthcare system.
And I'm guessing it's not just limited to healthcare, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
NVIDIA's technology is being used to develop smarter cities, more efficient transportation systems,
Mm-hmm.
and even personalized entertainment experiences.
Interesting.
Think about those virtual assistants we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They're becoming increasingly sophisticated,
Mm-hmm.
thanks in part to NVIDIA's powerful chips.
Okay.
They can understand our preferences, anticipate our needs,
Wow.
and even learn from our behavior to provide a more personalized experience.
Okay. I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. Nvidia isn't just about making chips for gamers and tech nerds.
Right.
They're creating the foundation for a future powered by AI.
Exactly.
But with all this talk about AI,
Yeah.
it's hard not to think about the potential downsides.
I understand.
I mean, you see all these movies and TV shows about robots taking over the world.
I understand the concern,
Okay.
but I think it's important to approach AI with a balanced perspective.
Right.
AI has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems, but it also comes with risks.
Sure.
That's why it's crucial to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of AI
Right.
to ensure that it's developed and deployed responsibly.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's a responsibility that falls on all of us,
Mm-hmm.
not just the companies developing the technology.
That's a great point. And speaking of responsibility,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on NVIDIA's role in all of this.
Oh.
Do they have a responsibility to ensure that their technology is used ethically?
Absolutely.
Okay.
As a leader in AI, NVIDIA has a responsibility to consider the potential impact of their technology on society
Mm-hmm.
and to take steps to mitigate any negative consequences.
So it's not just about profits and innovation, it's about being a responsible corporate citizen.
Exactly.
Right.
And that means engaging in dialogue with stakeholders,
Okay.
developing ethical guidelines for AI development,
Mm.
and promoting transparency and accountability in the use of AI systems.
Those are all important considerations.
They are.
But let's be realistic. These are complex issues with no easy answers.
Right.
It's not like NVIDIA can just wave a magic wand and solve all the ethical dilemmas surrounding AI.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing conversation.
Right.
And there will always be challenges and gray areas to navigate,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to find solutions.
Well said. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about NVIDIA's current business, their future ambitions, the potential risks and rewards for investors,
Right.
and even the broader societal implications of AI.
It's a big topic.
What are some key takeaways you think our listeners should be thinking about?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is that NVIDIA is a company at the forefront of a technological revolution.
Okay,
They're not just making chips.
right.
They're building the foundation for a future powered by artificial intelligence.
That's a powerful message.
And that future holds immense potential, both for NVIDIA as a company and for society as a whole.
And I think it's important to remember that this future isn't set in stone.
Absolutely not.
It's something we're all shaping together through the choices we make, the technologies we embrace, and the conversations we have.
I couldn't agree more.
The future of AI is a story that's still being written.
It is.
And we all have a role to play in that story.
Well said.
Well, on that note, let's wrap things up and leave our listener with some final thoughts to ponder. So we've covered NVIDIA's present, their ambitious plans for the future, and even touched on the ethical side of AI. But before we let you go, I want to loop back to something we briefly mentioned earlier.
Okay.
NVIDIA's potential impact on the job market.
Right.
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Okay.
On one hand, you have the potential for job displacement.
Right.
As AI systems become capable of performing tasks that were once done by humans.
Yeah, like what kinds of jobs are we talking about?
Well, think about automation in manufacturing.
Okay.
Or even things like customer service chatbots.
Right, those are already pretty common.
Exactly.
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
AI is also creating entirely new jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
In fields like data science, AI development, and machine learning engineering.
Those are hot fields right now.
It's almost like a technological tug of war.
It is a bit like that.
With jobs being lost in some areas and gained in others.
That's the nature of technological disruption.
What do you think this means for someone listening right now who wants to stay ahead of the curve?
That's the million-dollar question.
How can people prepare for this AI-driven future?
That's a question a lot of people are grappling with.
Yeah, for sure.
The key is adaptability.
Okay.
The jobs of tomorrow may not even exist today.
That's a little scary?
It can be, but it's also exciting.
Okay.
So it's crucial to be a lifelong learner.
Right.
Always willing to upskill and reskill.
I like that.
Embracing technology and developing a strong understanding of how it works will be essential.
So it's not just about learning to code.
Right.
But also about understanding the broader implications of AI and how it's changing the world around us.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity will be highly sought after skills in the AI era.
That makes sense. So as we wrap up this deep dive into NVIDIA and the world of AI, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
We've talked a lot about the potential of AI to change the world.
It's truly transformative.
But what about its impact on something more personal?
Okay.
Our creativity.
Interesting.
Could AI actually become a tool for artists, musicians, writers to enhance human creativity rather than replace it?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And one that sparks a lot of debate.
For sure.
We're already seeing early examples of AI being used in creative fields.
Like what?
Like composing music, generating artwork, and even writing poetry.
Wow, that's kind of freaky.
It is pretty mind-blowing.
But whether AI can truly be creative,
Right.
or if it's simply a tool for human expression, is still up for discussion.
It's a big philosophical debate.
It's almost philosophical, isn't it?
It is.
It makes you wonder about the nature of creativity itself.
It does.
And I think that's what makes this whole conversation so compelling.
I agree.
We're not just talking about technology.
Right.
We're talking about the future of humanity and our place in a world increasingly shaped by AI.
Well said.
Well said.
It's been a great discussion.
For our listener who requested this deep dive on NVIDIA, we hope you've gained some valuable insights into this company's future and the broader impact of AI.
I think we covered a lot of ground.
Remember, the future is still being written.
That's right.
And you have a role to play in shaping it.
We all do.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those tough questions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And who knows, maybe someday we'll be having a deep dive into your groundbreaking work in the field of AI.
I appreciate that.
Until then, keep diving deep.
You too. Thanks for having me.